Special greetings to everybody. You're all welcome to this special presentation, which is geared at giving you a lot of updates with regards to what is going on in the company's timetable at this point in time. A good number of you have really been finding it difficult to connect the dots between what has happened in the system before now, what is actually going on in the system, and of course the prospects that the company has, for the entire community. What is about to happen? What are the latest projects that are in view that will be unfolding in the nearest future? So in this particular presentation, I'm going to touch, some few aspects of what the company has actually been through, what we've all been through in the recent past, what is actually happening in the system right now, what is expected of most of us at this point in time, and what we should be expecting, what we should be looking out for. As a matter of fact, I know a good number of you have actually lost focus, in this business. Some of you have been saying, oh, there have been too many changes in the system, a lot of modifications, a lot of new things, this and that is a lot to take in at a time. Until at some point, some people decided to even give up because they really cannot meet with the changes. And the truth be told, in as much as I'm against some of the changes, but the truth be told, I should say in the majority, most of the changes are actually geared towards making the entire system better for everyone. The truth be told, this is an entire journey, it's a whole journey that contains a lot of processes. And the least we can expect to have are modifications from time to time. It's a very slippery ground that we're actually trading on. The crypto space is not a straightforward, it's not like a linear equation that we can easily put something at the input and we determine, in real time what the output is going to be. There are a lot of changes that can take place along the line. So that is the reason why the company also, from the moment it started right up to this moment, it keeps doing a lot of changes. It keeps doing a lot of modifications, bringing a lot of innovations into the system, just so everybody can get to feel comfortable in one way or the other in the system. Whether you're a small investor or a major investor, the company is trying to make sure that at least everybody, whoever is putting a penny in the system, gets to reap something absolutely worthwhile. It might not actually happen in a day, it might not happen in a week, neither in a month. It might have to take a couple of years, but the truth be told, consistency is actually what plays the match. Consistency is what represents, the best solution that anybody can stay on with, hoping for the best things to come in the nearest future. So patience with this system is a virtue, but not just exercising patience, but exercising patience along, trying to understand exactly what the company is actually doing when it comes to certain situations. You must understand the company's position in it. Modifications are actually good. Modifications only tend to be bad if and only if the justification that is backing those modifications is not logical. If the modification is done for the purpose of not yielding anything worthwhile, whether at the present moment or in the future for the users or for the community members, then such a modification is really way out of place. And I personally equally frowns against such modification. It's true, there are some of those modifications that I can tell you in all honesty, I've never been in support of those ones, but a majority of them are actually been in favor of the community members, even if we are not seeing the results immediately. But I can tell you in all certainties that time is actually coming when the fruits of all of this waiting period, all of these downtrend moments that the majority of us have been going through will actually get to pay off. And the pay is definitely going to be extremely very huge. So it's about the patience. It's not about how fast it comes. It's not about how big the figures are, especially for those of you who actually went through the experience with the PLCU back in the days, that is in 2022, when the value went up to as high as $130-something thousand. It's not really about, the coin getting to attain high values as such, but it is about for how long, the coin is able to rise and maintain a particular high position. That is what we are more concerned about. So the company has decided to retreat or to re-strategize by making sure that the growth actually takes place in an organic manner, not necessarily looking for means to fast track some of the parameters just so the coin gets to pump in the market, attract a lot of attention, and then before you know it, everything is going down. So in this particular presentation, which is going to be made up of several parts, maybe 3 or 4 or 5 parts, I urge you all to be able to watch each of these parts from the beginning to the end, because a lot of strategic information is going to be shared. So in this first part, just to give you an insight on what I'm going to be discussing about, what is the presentation plan look, or what does the presentation plan look like? So in this particular presentation, which is going to be made up of several parts, I'm going to begin first by talking about or shedding some light on the smart and the ULTIMA blockchain, because a lot of people keep asking the questions, oh, we thought the smart blockchain was going to provide a solution that we couldn't get with the first blockchain that the company had, which was built on the Litecoin model. And now the smart chain came in and many people concluded that, okay, maybe this is the safe place where we needed to be. So why did it have to prompt again the coming of another blockchain, which is the ULTIMA blockchain? Why did we have the transition from the smart, or why are we having the transition from the smart to the ULTIMA blockchain? I mean, in terms of the assets that we currently have on the smart blockchain, why are we talking about migration, moving from the smart chain to the ULTIMA chain? Does it mean that we are going to scrape off the smart chain just like the company did with the first blockchain that they had? Are we going to scrap off the smart chain in favor of the ULTIMA chain? I can tell you in all honesty, for now, the company has not actually come out outrightly to say it wants to eliminate the smart chain completely. The truth be told, there are some assets that will still continue to remain on that particular smart chain. So I don't think the smart chain is going to disappear anytime soon. And I don't even think the company actually has it at the back of its mind to make it disappear someday. So I'm also going to be talking about the coin, that is the ULTIMA coin, as well as the ULTIMA token. Maybe some people will still be asking themselves questions. Why are we still talking of the ULTIMA token? And we are also talking about the ULTIMA coin. Why not just have one? Maybe it's either is the ULTIMA token or is the ULTIMA coin. What is the advantage of one over the other? What is the essence of having the two? I'm also going to be throwing more light on that. I'm also going to be throwing light on three major technologies which are unique to this company. Well, not actually all three, but it's staking. Staking, as a matter of fact, is a technology which is used by many other cryptocurrencies, not just our own company. But the technologies that are really unique to this company are technologies such as the splitting. Of course, he who talks about splitting definitely talks about liquidity pools. So this is a unique technology to this particular company. And of course, you have the freezing technology also, which is very unique to this company. So I'm going to be showing you exactly how to make a lot of money exploiting either the staking, the splitting, or the freezing technologies. So how do you get to make use of either three or any of these three to be able to make so much money from the system outside trading, outside the referral program and so on? So I'm going to be throwing light on that. Then I'm also going to be discussing on the transaction fees that are paid both on the ULTIMA chain and on the smart chain. Now, there are lots and lots of complications that many people seem to be facing when it comes to these transaction fees. Some people don't know exactly how to get the transaction fees. Some people don't know which of the transaction fees are supposed to be used for what type of transactions, whether for smart contracts, or maybe for claiming of rewards and so on and so forth. So I'm going to be throwing light on that as well. I'm also going to be talking about the migration of splits, which is actually on the lips of almost everybody at this point in time. It is actually what is principal on the company's timetable right now. Everybody needs to migrate most of the splits from the smart blockchain to the ULTIMA blockchain. Which are the splits that are involved in this migration? Which are the splits that are not concerned with the migration? I'm also going to be talking about that. And I'll also be discussing about the trading bots of this company, especially the ones that we have now, which will no longer have the opportunity to get by the end of the month of September 2025. I'm going to be talking more about it. And to end it all, I'm going to be talking about the new project that the company has right now, which is ushering us into the future. What does the future hold for the community members? That's from the standpoint of the company. What is it trying to offer the members of the community, as a project that is going to be more rewarding than probably the ones that we've seen before now? Like I told you before, the company is always in the quest of making every situation better off for all community members. It doesn't matter where you're coming from. It doesn't matter how bad the story has actually been for you over the time. So this is essentially how our presentation plan is going to look like. Now, to dive into the very first aspect of it, why the transition from the smart blockchain to the ULTIMA blockchain? Why are we being requested to move from the smart blockchain, to move certain assets from the smart blockchain to the ULTIMA blockchain? Now, we have a couple of reasons that justify that. First and foremost, the first reason is so as to render the ULTIMA token to become a full-fledged coin having its own blockchain. Now, what is the reason behind that? If you check very well, if you go to CoinsMarketCap, which is a tracking platform for major cryptocurrencies in the world, on CoinMarketCap, which is like one of the best coin aggregators in the world, you realize that the first, I should say, the first 10 or the first 20 cryptocurrencies on coin market cap in terms of classification, whether in terms of market cap or in terms of dollar equivalents or whatever, you realize that all those digital assets that occupy the first 10 to 20 positions on coin market cap, they are all full-fledged coins. They are full coins, not tokens. That is to tell you that it is very difficult for a token to run the race of competition with major coins on the crypto market. It has to, first of all, become a full-fledged coin. As a token, it's very difficult. It's not like it's impossible for it to get to that level, but it is very, very difficult. So if you really want to climb that rank ladder, that ladder of positioning on coin market cap, for instance, in terms of classification, then first and foremost, you need to become a full-fledged coin, having your own ecosystem, which is built under your own blockchain. So one of the major reasons that prompted the company to come up with the ULTIMA blockchain is so that ULTIMA, which was still existing as a token on the smart blockchain, should become an autonomous coin. It should become a full-fledged coin operating on its own blockchain. Because existing on the smart chain, as a matter of fact, the native currency there is the smart coin. And we know that the smart coin was not created by the company. The smart coin was brought into existence through the conversion of community coins. PLC, PLCU, PLCUX, PLCU Classic, and all the like. So people had to do the swapping to give birth to what is known as the smart coin. That is how the smart coin came into existence, which was now operating under the smart blockchain, which means the smart coin is the native currency of the smart blockchain. Any other cryptocurrency which is existing on it, like the ULTIMA token, is referred to as a tenant, which means the original owner of that house, which is called the smart blockchain, is the smart coin. The smart coin is the landlord. Now, any other person who is living on that particular or in that particular structure, like the ULTIMA token, is referred to as a tenant. And so a tenant is given the name token, which means ULTIMA existing on a blockchain which is owned by the smart coin is given the name token. That's why they call it ULTIMA token, because the blockchain is not owned by ULTIMA. So why was ULTIMA brought, into that space? Why was ULTIMA brought into or onto the smart blockchain? It's simply because the smart coin, given the fact that it's a native cryptocurrency of the smart chain, is to be used for gas fee transaction. All transaction is supposed to be used as a gas fee for all transactions taking place on the smart blockchain. And if we check very well, there are close to about 9 trillion smart coins that are in existence right now, even though some of them have been burnt on several occasions and so on, but the quantity that is left is still extremely very huge. It's still very huge, which means it will take a very long time to be able to burn a good quantity of this smart coin, which means the future of smart coins, though it is very bright, but it's going to take quite a little while. It will take a very, 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 very long time, for most of those smart coins to be burned and removed from the market. So much so that we tend to reduce the supply. Even though a good quantity of them are not yet on the exchanges, they are still stuck in back offices and so on. And the contracts that are producing them are still ongoing. There are some that the contracts will last for as long as 5 years. Some will only last for 3 years and so on and so forth. So because of that, the company needed another asset that will be used, as a utility asset. That was why the ULTIMA token was brought into the picture. So the ULTIMA token came into the picture so that it can serve as a utility coin, meaning that is the currency that people will be able to make use of to purchase products or to pay for services within the ecosystem of this company and not the smart coin. The smart coin will only be used as a transaction fee for moving back and forth the main currency, which is the utility currency that is used for the products and the services. And that is the role that is to be played by the ULTIMA token. Now, I've already explained why it had to be referred to as a token and not a full-fledged coin, because it was resident on a blockchain which is not its own, which is a blockchain that is owned by the smart coin. So that is the first reason. Then the second reason is so that ULTIMA can, in all honesty and without any fear of impunity, be sent to the market to go and compete with other mainstream cryptocurrencies. Let it, first of all, become a full-fledged coin of its own, having its own blockchain, not depending on some other coin's own blockchain. Then the ULTIMA blockchain, comparatively speaking, is more competitive or is more advanced as opposed to the smart blockchain. In what sense? In the sense that it has some upgraded features of the smart chain. For instance, the number of transactions per second. So the ULTIMA blockchain can actually handle higher transactions per second as opposed to the smart blockchain. Then you also have what we call the block timing. The block times of the ULTIMA chains are higher compared to those of the smart chains. So those are some of the advantages. So the ULTIMA chain has more upgraded features as opposed to the smart chain. Then in terms of energy, transaction, that's energy which is used for transaction. The transaction fee on the smart chain, we needed to make use of energy which came as a result of smart coins being frozen, which means indirectly there are smart coins that were used, even though you had to stake the smart coins in order to have this energy produced to you. But even at that, a lot of people still realize that it was a little bit more expensive based on the fact that huge amounts of energies are usually needed, especially right now. Right now, you need very huge quantities of energies for certain transactions. And for you to get such energies means you need to freeze huge quantities of smart coins as well, which makes it a little bit expensive for too many persons, to be able to access a whole lot of transactions or to be able to carry out transactions on the smart blockchain. So the ULTIMA chain came with its own energy system, which is more affordable as opposed to the energy under the smart chain. It's true, a lot of people have mixed feelings about this, or they will have maybe quite a good number of things to say with regards to this, maybe trying to argue out the fact that it's really not that affordable as opposed to the smart chain or the energy on the smart chain. The truth be told, the company is actually still doing a lot in the area of this energy. They are not done yet. They are still doing a lot of work. But the main objective is to make sure that the gas fee transaction or the transaction fees that are paid on the ULTIMA chain are much more as affordable as opposed to the case with the smart chain. So even if that is not happening right now as we speak, but that is the original objective, and that is why the company is still working on it to make sure that the gas fee, is really affordable for the ULTIMA chain as opposed to the smart chain. So those are some of the reasons that actually prompted the putting into place of a new blockchain, which is the ULTIMA blockchain. But now, given the fact that it has upgraded features, which are more than the ones under the two previous blockchains, the company now requested that people should be able to migrate most of their assets from the smart blockchain to the ULTIMA blockchain. That way they can get to benefit from some of these upgraded features, amongst which there is one of them. In fact, there is one aspect that actually makes the ULTIMA blockchain extremely very unique and more advantageous as opposed to the smart chain, which is the fact that most of the products that are run on the ULTIMA chain can be gotten relatively for free as opposed to products that were gotten on the smart chain. For instance, if you are interested in a particular package or any product on the ULTIMA chain, the only thing you are expected to do is to freeze a certain quantity of ULTIMA coins against the product in question. Once that is done, the product automatically becomes yours. And amongst these products we had before now, we had the splits, like the Boaster splits and a couple of other splits. I mean, the ones that are actually operating on the ULTIMA chain. So we had Boaster 3 and we had Boaster 4. But now these two boosters or these two categories of splits are no longer there, because right now the company is putting an end to the splitting system. The company doesn't want to deal with splits again, at least for now, because we realize that though the splits are good, but they are usually good at the beginning. Over time, we realize that the splits are no longer very, very rewarding. So the company has decided to alter the cost or to change the cost. Instead of dealing with liquidity pools or dealing with splitting system, the company wants to be using a main tool, which is what is known everywhere by many other companies also, which is that of making use of a robot, trading robot. So the company wants to be dealing mostly with trading robots right now and moving away from the splitting system. So those are some of the reasons why we had, why the company had to put in place another blockchain, which is the ULTIMA blockchain, aside the fact that we had the smart blockchain. Now let us look at some of the advantages and the disadvantages of this transition. What are the advantages and disadvantages? let's look at the advantages first. Like I already explained earlier on, it is so that the ULTIMA, which was existing before now on the smart blockchain, even though it is still existing there as a token, in fact, we should give it the possibility. The company is trying to give it the possibility for it to become a full-fledged coin and not just a token. Because as a full-fledged coin with its own blockchain, with its own ecosystem, it can be able to compete in the market with other mainstream cryptocurrencies. And that means we have high hopes that it can easily ascend someday to occupy the first, why not the second position on the cryptocurrency market. Now, the second reason is so that, anyway, the first reason is so that we can benefit from upgraded features, like I already said, like in terms of speed of transactions and so on. And the second one, which is making it a full-fledged coin. And the third, so that people can be able to benefit from lower transaction fees, even if that is not being applied at the moment, but that is the original objective, and the company is still working to make sure that that actually gets to happen. Then there is an improvement also in the tokenomics as well on the ULTIMA blockchain, especially when it comes to reward mechanics. If you look at the reward mechanics system that has been put in place, this one now is more advantageous as compared to the case with the smart blockchain. And also to serve some form of rebranding. It's like a way of trying to rebrand also the coin itself or the digital asset itself. Because usually everybody knows that when something comes in new, it is always very much rewarding at the beginning. Then over time, we'll start seeing some of the downside of it. But now the company is about to correct all of that. If it starts very good at the beginning, it should also stay good till the end. That is why they are moving from the splitting system now to concentrate mostly with the trading aspect of it, using what? Automated robots. Now, what are some of the disadvantages? The first disadvantage is that though we now have the ULTIMA chain and we still have the smart chain existing, but most of the splits on this the smart chain need to be migrated to the ULTIMA chain so that people can actually get to benefit from the upgraded features on the ULTIMA chain. Now, this migration usually is only meant to take place for a period of time. It means that there is a window that is left open for the migration to take place. And unfortunately, if anybody misses to have their splits migrated within that window of opportunity that is given, then the person is going to miss out. It's not like the person is going to lose, their split. For instance, those of you who missed, getting your splits migrated, maybe the gold split, the PSP splits, the VIP one, if you have not swapped them or if you have not migrated them, know that the period has passed. And because the period has passed, it therefore means that those who were able to do the migration, they are already reaping benefits daily. In fact, they are getting daily rewards in terms of ULTIMA coins that are paid to them. But you who was not able to migrate, you will not be able to get those daily rewards until the day you shall be able to do your own migration, meaning you have to wait till the company will reopen that window for people who are not migrated before now to be able to do their own migration. So you have to wait till that happens. And we do not know exactly when the company is going to make that happen again. Probably they'll have to wait for a couple of months before that is reopened for people to start doing that. That's the first disadvantage. The second disadvantage is the fact that even if you were able to do the migration, the transaction fees involved with the migration process are, in fact, they were extremely very, very high. Very, very high, to a point whereby a good number of people could not afford for such transaction fees, especially for small investors, people who invested, maybe little in the system. When you do the evaluation, you realize that the amount of money you have to spend only on transaction fees is probably going to be more than what you will be gaining every day, assuming that you are able to go through with the migration process. So the conclusion was that many people decided not to spend such amount of money to do the migration. Even myself, who is doing this recording right now, I have a good number of splits that I couldn't migrate because I did the evaluation. I realized that the cost on the transaction fee is going to be more than what I'll be getting from the splits. So what do? I simply allow the splits to be there, maybe hoping that in the future, the company will be able to make an improvement on the gas fee, the amount that people spend on the gas fee for such transaction, maybe for the migration. And when it eventually happens, that is when I will get to migrate my own space. That's the same thing that happened to so many other persons. Then, number 3, we have what we call fragmentation in the liquidity, meaning that there are some splits that will still continue to exist because some people were not able to do the migration in time, which means you still have a good quantity of splits on the smart chain, while there are some of those splits already migrated to the ULTIMA chain, which means that the liquidity somehow is a bit divided, especially for the splits that will remain on the smart chain that will not be moved, like the Royal split. they are not concerned with migration. You have also the red splits, they are not also concerned with the migration. For now, booster splits have not been migrated. The window of migration has not been opened for them, but they will definitely be migrated from the smart chain to the ULTIMA chain. Then, to end it up, the last one, which is where many people have actually been falling into, into losses. Because we have these two chains. You have the SRC, which is the smart chain, and then you have the URC, which is the ULTIMA chain. Some people have been making, in fact, a good number of people have made several mistakes. Even I myself, who is doing this recording, have equally been a victim of this. It means that somebody who is trying to do a migration, to do a transaction on the ULTIMA chain, makes an error and copies an address which belongs to the smart chain and transfers the asset into it. Once that transfer is done, that is all. That asset is lost completely for life. For instance, if somebody wants to do a transaction using ULTIMA, and maybe the address that you are supposed to make use of is the address that corresponds to ULTIMA token, and then you use an ULTIMA token address and you transfer into it an asset which is actually an ULTIMA coin asset, or you are transferring ULTIMA coins into maybe or onto a platform, and the address that you are using is an address that is supposed to receive only ULTIMA tokens, not ULTIMA coins. Because of that confusion between an address that belongs to the ULTIMA coin and an address that belongs to the ULTIMA token, people get to lose a lot of assets. Because if you send the wrong asset to the wrong address, even though they are all ULTIMAs, then you lose the asset completely. So these are some of the downsides that are concerned with this migration. That is why if you are not very, very knowledgeable on how to do this migration, it is better you watch the tutorial videos that actually explain or give a step-by-step procedure on how this is done very well. Watch it several times before you get to give it a try. If not, get closer to somebody who has expertise in doing that to be able to assist you in doing that migration, just so you don't get to lose your assets. It's extremely very important. So like I said earlier on, what are the assets that are concerned with the migration? This is the ULTIMA chain. When you see this section in this yellow color, it is representing the smart chain, sorry. It is representing the smart chain or the smart blockchain. This section in blue color is representing the ULTIMA blockchain. Now, which are the splits that are concerned with migration on the smart chain, which you need to move or transfer from the smart chain to the ULTIMA chain? These are them here. Now, they are classified in two groups. This is the first group here. You have VIP1, PSP, GLS1, that's gold split 1. You have business split 1 and business split 2. They constitute the first category. The second category, you have two of them. You have legacy splits and you have bull splits. Now, booster splits will definitely fall in this category, or maybe in this category. For now, we don't know which of these two categories is going to fall in, since the migration window for it has not been opened yet. Then you have this other group. This other group is made of splits, which will continue to stay on the smart blockchain, according to what the company said before now. So these two are not concerned with migration. That's why you see here is written no migration. Now let us come to this first group. This first group, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. For you to be able to migrate this, in fact, any of these splits to the ULTIMA chain, what you need to do is you need to pass through your ULTIMA DeFi back office. You need to go through your ULTIMA DeFi back office. And then you choose what we call a minter, the corresponding minter. If it is VIP1 that you want to convert to its equivalence on the ULTIMA chain, then you have to go and look for the VIP1 minter. Through the minter, you'll be able to convert the VIP1 or the PSP, depending on the minter that you've chosen, or GLS1 or whatever. You'll be able to convert it so that that minter will now receive their VIP ones, which are coming from the smart blockchain, and at the output, it will now produce the same VIP coins, but which are now for the ULTIMA chain. So you can now begin to transfer. In fact, once the conversion is done, you are not going to receive the totality of it at once. For instance, let me take a very simple example. Let's say you have 10 VIP1 splits that you want to convert to have the equivalence on the ULTIMA chain. Once you get a minter in here that is going to convert your VIP ones, the minter is going to convert the 10, is going to convert the 10 VIP ones and give you the equivalence directly on the ULTIMA chain. But you will not be able to have the totality of the 10 at once. No, that 10 will be divided by 360 days. It means that if you take 10, you divide it by 360 days, meaning that every day you have a fraction
You have a fraction that is paid to you. Every day a fraction is paid to you, still in terms of the VIP one. So once you gather a certain quantity of the VIP ones, you now transfer them to your ULTIMA wallet. In fact, you transfer them to your smart wallet. You go to the ULTIMA section of it. You will be able to freeze them under the section VIP. It will no longer be called VIP one day. It will just be VIP, but having a blue colored background. You will now be able to freeze it there so that that frozen quantity will continue to, in fact, will start producing ULTIMA coins for you every day. You'll be able to earn rewards from it daily in terms of the ULTIMA coins. While you are doing that, there is still payment continuously coming out from the minter, from the corresponding minter. Remember, I said that payment will be done in little bits every day for the next 360 days, counting from the day that you've been able to do the purchase of the minter. That is exactly what is referred to as the migration. So migrating means using any of these splits to purchase the minter, let the minter begin to produce the same split for you, but which are splits that are meant for the ULTIMA chain. But those splits will be paid to you bit by bit every day for the next 360 days. As you are receiving the splits, you can transfer them now into your ULTIMA chain. Means you can move them to the corresponding section on the ULTIMA section, on the ULTIMA chain section, and then you freeze them in order to start having now the real daily payment, which you can actually withdraw and sell, which is the ULTIMA coins now. So it's not something which is automatic. So that's to tell you that these ones, when you go through the migration process with them, it will take you a long while to be able to have all of them to go and freeze. And then you start earning the ULTIMA coins from it. So this one actually delays. Now for these two, on the contrary, you can actually get to do a direct swap. You can swap them directly and you have the exact quantity. Meaning that if you have, for instance, 10 LSPs, you can actually go to your ultima.io back office. Just log into ultima.io. You get into that back office. You will be able to convert. There's a section there. You see the swapping process. They will show you where you are supposed to convert your LSP from the smart chain to LSP under the ULTIMA chain. So once you do that swapping, you will get the total quantity at once, which you can also withdraw at once, and then you take and you'll create a smart contract on the ULTIMA chain and it starts paying you the ULTIMA tokens. It's different from this one because this one, you'll be getting the output given to you bit by bit. You need to gather a certain quantity before you come and you create the contract for it here, for it to start paying you ULTIMA coins. So this is what we need to understand. This is what we need to understand. Now, for now, these are the two splits that are not concerned with the migration, like I said earlier on. So how do you earn money from the system? You can earn money through staking or through splitting or through freezing. Now you need to understand when is it advantageous for you to stake your ULTIMA coins, or is it rather advantageous for you to do splitting, or is it rather advantageous for you to do freezing? You need to understand the difference between these three. It's as simple as ABC. Now let me see if I can share an example with you on how you can get to determine whether it is advantageous for you to do splitting or not. Just give me a moment. Sorry about that. Just give me a moment. Now take a look at this. Take a look at this. Now this is, for instance, when you log into your wallet. When you log into your wallet here. This is your wallet. Now, once you log into the wallet, first of all, you're going to appear on this page. Now, while you're on this page, click on split here. Once you click on split, this is splits that has been chosen. For instance, you want to stake ULTIMA tokens. These are ULTIMA tokens you want to stake. If you click now on the option ULTIMA tokens, this is the page that is going to appear. Now, once it appears, you click on the third button. This is exactly what you are going to see here. Which means that for the case of this person, the person who owns this particular screenshot, this person was able to freeze 0.011414 ULTIMA tokens. Now, if you want to choose to do staking of your ULTIMA tokens, staking simply means you are getting the tokens frozen somewhere because you want to be earning rewards on them every day. It's different from splitting. It's different also from normal freezing. Now, you need to understand the difference. First of all, if you look at this pool already has 6,891 tokens, ULTIMA tokens inside. and this person has frozen 0.011414. How many tokens, actually, how many ULTIMA tokens are shared in this pool? 2.5, which means if you divide 2.5 by 6,891, it is going to give you this figure, which you are seeing as 0.00361, which means that somebody who has frozen one ULTIMA token will be earning this one every day, on condition that this quantity of tokens stays like this, no increase, is noticed on it, or there is no addition on it, and that the price of the ULTIMA in the market also stays at the present price, which means that somebody with one ULTIMA token will be earning $2.51 a day. And this person who has frozen only 0.00, what is the quantity that the person will be earning, or what is the amount that the person will be earning in dollars every day? Multiply this one by this 2.5, you will see how much this person will be making every day. Is it really advantageous? So for you to choose whether to do staking of your coins, check first of all how saturated the pool is. If the pool is already too saturated and you have just a small quantity of assets, ULTIMA tokens, for instance, then it doesn't make sense for you to stake. And for now, we can only stake what? ULTIMA tokens or ULTIMA coins. So when we talk of staking, it's mostly in terms of ULTIMA tokens or ULTIMA coins. If it has to do with splitting, if it has to do with splits, then you are talking about splitting. Now, when we talk about freezing, you can only freeze the same tokens or the same coin. That's ULTIMA, whether token or coin. But for now, we mostly do freezing in terms of ULTIMA coins. So before you choose to do staking, make sure you check the nature of the pool, how saturated. Because if it is too saturated, then it might rather be advantageous for you to convert your ULTIMA tokens to split, and you go and do splitting, or you freeze your ULTIMA tokens or your ULTIMA coins against a product. So freezing is mostly when you want to get a product from the company for free. You freeze your